Welcome to a new series about the inner path, where we're going to be having conversations about the inner journey, the interior being, and many other issues concerning human development and spiritual growth. My name is Raymond Lam, and I'd like to introduce our host, Shveitta Sharma, a longtime friend of the website and in her own right, a happiness coach and inner development speaker and friend. So, Shveitta, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be interested in stories of spiritual journeys.
Okay, so this journey started about almost 14, 15 years ago when I was going through my own, dark night of the soul.
Yes.
And I started looking for answers about what makes a person happy and what was the problems that I was facing. So it was a very selfish endeavor to find the meaning of happiness. And I started doing this for my own personal reasons. And before I knew it, I had started sharing what I had learned with some friends and family. And slowly and steadily, it just kept growing. So it was never something that I intended to do. It was never something that was supposed to become the school of happiness. And it's just an organic growth. And I got invited to do a couple of talks, a couple of workshops, and I still didn't take it seriously. I just thought it was something that, it was like a journey into self-introspection.
Right.
And as I continued on the journey, I realized that pretty much everything that I was looking for was within.
Yeah.
And all my life, as all of us do, we are always looking for solutions of our problems outside.
Right.
It's like because the way we are sensory beings. My eyes look outside, my ears hear, I touch you. Everything is outward focused. So it's natural that we will be looking for solutions of our problems and our pains and our issues outside. And the thing is, that's not where the answers lie.
So would you say that the objective of what you're doing these days, as well as the School of Happiness, is to look inward, to provide resources and insights for people to try to be more comfortable about looking inward of and try to see what they might find?
Yes, absolutely. And that brings me to the question of, what do we mean by looking inward? These are the questions I had 10 years, 15 years ago. It's like every time I met a spiritual master or a teacher, they would say, look inward. And I, like I said, I never understood what looking inward means. Today, I'm not saying I'm an authority on it, but I think I understand what happens to us when we are in the world. We become impacted by what's going on around us. Every time you turn the TV on, there is so much noise about, this is right, this is wrong, you are incomplete because you don't have a particular degree or a particular car or a particular house. And so we are constantly fed this diet of not good enough.
No.
We are not good enough. We don't know how to come across in the world, because we feel so incomplete. So the idea behind looking inward is to actually cut yourself out from all the distractions for a few minutes a day, just a few minutes a day, and sit in silence and allow your inner voice to be heard. Because what happens to us is our inner voice has been completely suppressed.
Right.
Because the outer noise is so much that we really don't have the time or the ability to hear our inner being. And that only comes to the surface is when you are in silence. And okay, let me use an analogy. Let's say you're, what happens when you're boiling some water? When the water is boiling, you cannot see the bottom of the pot. You have no idea what is at the bottom.
Right.
When the boiling settles, then you see what's at the bottom. So similarly, that happens with us. When we are so angry and with so much anguish and so much fear, we don't know what really our core essence is all about. And our core essence is all about peace and harmony and compassion and empathy. But because we believe we are incomplete and not good enough, that's that's what we portray outside.
And just to build on that analogy of the boiling water,
Yeah.
it's all sorts of emotions. So you talked about anger, fear, but it's also things that the Buddhist and Hindu traditions also say. It might also be the positive emotions like euphoria,
Yeah.
at sort of winning at something, or feeling we've acquired something, and that leads to more and more more of that boiling, and we obscure our true nature through
Yeah.
through all these strong emotions of both.
See, emotions, we are emotional beings. We will have emotions because if you're leading an emotionless life, it's like a flat line.
Yes.
Right? So yes, I agree that you want the euphoria, you want the anger, but to what extent?
Yeah.
And what is it achieving? What's
Yes.
the end purpose?
Yeah.
My idea, what I'm trying to say is like, you need to grow, but what is the way that you want to grow? Do you want to grow in anger? Do you want to grow in lack?
Yeah.
Do you want to grow in fear?
Yeah.
Or do you want to grow in compassion and love and empathy and enoughness?
Yeah.
The thing is, these are the debates I've had with some of my teachers, because they said like contentment is the key, which I agree. But if you're all contented, there is no growth. Growth comes through discontentment.
Okay.
And through a desire to change the status quo. Let's go to the situation that's happening in Hong Kong right now, right? It's been 3 months of extreme anger and fear that's coming out on the streets of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And I was away for the majority of it, but when I came back to Hong Kong, it really affected me.
Yeah.
Even though I don't watch the news, I'm not a part of any of this clash that's going on. But as a Hong Kong resident who's absolutely passionate about living in Hong Kong, it really impacted me.
Right.
And I started writing some articles which were, very well received by the people, because the idea behind the articles was to focus on the peace and
Yes.
not on the violence.
Exactly.
Because everyone is so angry, everyone is so bitter that,
Yeah.
there are people who are taking sides, and people in the families are fighting.
Yes,
Like
yes.
two siblings are fighting because one is, pro protesters,
Yeah,
one is
yeah.
pro peace. So there's so much of anger and fear and angst.
Yes.
And that is what is happening in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And again, it's a reflection of our inner conflicts.
Yes.
The youth are so unfulfilled.
Yeah.
They feel that they don't have anything to lose.
Yes.
So they don't have, and now
It's a reflection of the discontent.
Discontentment,
and
absolutely.
Whatever those discontentments are, they have never been addressed properly.
Yes.
And that's why now we have this breaking point.
Yes.
Is that
yes,
similar?
a very interesting analogy a friend of mine used, like, let's say I tell my boyfriend something.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't listen.
Yeah.
I keep telling him and he still doesn't listen.
Yeah.
And then on the third time I slap him.
Yeah.
Like, come on, I'm trying to tell you. And he still ignores me. Then I bring a bloody axe
Yeah.
and try to kill him. That's when he listens.
Yeah.
And I think what has happened is in Hong Kong is the youth have been trying to, say things,
Yeah.
because of their discontentment.
Yeah.
They've been trying to share this discontentment since 2014.
Yeah.
And things started boiling, and, we all took notice of what was going on. I don't know what the government did or did not do, but I'm not going to focus on the political situation at all. What I'm trying to say is the fact that we're on the streets is because there is inherent dissatisfaction
Inside,
and discontentment inside.
And I could also add that when you talked about looking outwards for happiness, in all honesty, Hong Kong's a beautiful city.
Yes.
But in many respects, I don't think the youth have been given enough tools to look inwards.
Right.
Many of them have been conditioned, often by their older generation, to look outwards for
Yes.
fulfillment, right? The handbag, the car, although it's a unique situation in Hong Kong, a bigger and bigger house.
Yeah.
So these are important things to discuss, but then I don't think we've really had the chance to really engage with the youth in terms of how they can seek inner.
Yeah,
the
absolutely. See, Hong Kong is, when I came to Hong Kong, it was this razzle-dazzling place which completely seduced me.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong's been a very materialistic society.
Yes,
you know.
exactly. Yes.
And sadly, the whole world is going towards materialism. It's not just Hong Kong. Hong Kong, it was just very blatant.
Right.
You know, it's like, what watch do you wear? What car do you drive? What handbag do you carry?
Yeah.
And that is what defined Hong Kong.
Yes.
You know, the moment you spoke about Hong Kong, it was like, wow, the rich place, you know, where...
yeah.
But it's the rich place with a very poor inner life.
Exactly.
You know,
That's what I was trying to get at. Yeah.
Very poor. And I've met a lot of youth who are so discontented with life. You know, it's not because the only thing they know is, like, when I started on this happiness journey and I would go around asking people, like, are you happy? Yeah, I'll be happy if I have the money. So it was, their happiness was always related to their bank balance.
Yeah.
Always.
And it depended on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was never to do with relationships. It was never to do with their spiritual growth, emotional well-being, even health, nothing.
Yeah.
It was all about the money, 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 money.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised that this discontentment is coming to the surface now, because that's one aspect of happiness.
Yes.
You know, it's one aspect. Yes, we do need money. I'm never going to say that you know, because I was having a conversation earlier about this. I asked this rickshaw driver if he was happy.
Yeah.
And he says, I don't have time to think about happiness.
Yes, exactly.
Because I have 5 mouths to feed.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, we are having this discussion, and we are very privileged to be having this discussion about happiness.
That we can even have.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
exactly.
a lot of youth in Hong Kong, or pretty much a lot of places,
In around
you know,
the
where
world,
they don't have high social security, have this fear of, like, what's my future?
Yes.
And it's not a newfound fear. It's being bred into us for so long.
Yeah.
And you know what's happening now? The reason it's become so in our faces, because now we have access to the whole world.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
earlier people didn't have access to what was going on beyond even their village.
Yeah, yeah.
So if people in my village were like, you know, this analogy they use, if you're a 5-foot person in a 5-foot village, you're very happy.
Yeah.
But if you're a 5-foot person in a 6-foot village, you're very unhappy.
Right.
So that's what's happening in Hong Kong. There are people who have so much wealth, so much wealth. And then there are people who are living in 300 square feet apartments with 4 people.
Yeah.
They don't even have space, like to their personal space.
Yeah, which is really,
you know,
a
and
tragedy,
this personal space really impacts. I mean, you know, we've got beautiful ground, so I know we can go for hikes, we can go and do something outside.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it is important.
It's not quite the same, is it?
No, it's not. You need, you know, the government owes its people something. The government is a rich government.
Yeah, and there's, it's also been exacerbated, as you said, by technological trends, social media trends. You see a lot of, I may say, wealthy young people, materialistic people. They're basically crafting a whole narrative of personal success and sort of basically not apologizing, but actually
showing it off.
And with so many young people being glued to their phones and their smartphones, they're being conditioned.
Yeah. Oh, completely. This is exactly the reason I'm saying that we need to decondition ourselves. You know, we need to go on this social media diets.
Right.
You know, we are always concerned about what I'm putting in my mouth, but are we ever looking at what we are putting in our ears, putting in our eyes? You know, it's we need these kind of diets and say, no, I will disengage from what is being fed to me and go and look for answers which really mean something.
So,
you know,
building on that, do you think we need some creative ways to reach out to Hong Kong people, and especially youth, to lead them to think in different ways of how they can disengage, how they can look inwards?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, the olden cultures have so many tools, like, and this is what I like to share. Like, there are tools to take breaks. You know, take moments to really sit down in silence and just breathe. Just focus on your breathing for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. I mean, and you will realize that even 5 minutes sometimes feels difficult because it's 5 minutes of doing nothing.
Yeah, no stimuli, no phones, nothing.
Absolutely. You know, you're into Buddhism, so you know what Vipassana is all about. I went for 10 days of silence, and It was traumatic.
wasn't easy.
It was traumatic because the inner noise is so severe. It's like it's stronger than your outer noise, because your inner being just wakes up and says, "Oh my God, what have you been doing to me for so long?" So I would say take 5-minute breaks every day. Every day, just breathe. And it sounds easy, it's not. And then, I'll just give you an example. Just yesterday, I was with a lady, and I really liked what she was wearing. And I said, "Oh, what a beautiful dress you're wearing." And she's like, immediately she became defensive, like, "Oh, no, it's too short, it's too short." The thing is, none of us know how to accept, what do you call them? Accept compliments.
Compliments.
And so I think another way to feel good is actually compliment yourself. Find something in you that you are proud of, or even like. You don't have to have gone and made $1 million or impacted 1 million lives, but the fact that you woke up today and you smiled at a stranger, or you smiled at your own family, you did something nice. Compliment yourself.
Remind yourself of your goodness.
Remind yourself. Compliment, because why there's so much of inner conflict is because we believe that we are not good enough. So I highly recommend a daily dose of finding why am I good enough? What is it about me that I like? Because if I don't focus on what I like and I'm good at, how can I expect you to like me or appreciate me? We are defensive about ourselves, like, no, I'm not good enough, I'm not bright enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not accomplished enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not tall enough. This is what the media has fed us. So the way to become stronger is accepting yourself in all honesty.
And reaffirming the good parts
and
of yourself.
what, we will be judged from time to time. We will be judged. The world, like, everybody's pointing fingers at you. Why do you want to point finger at yourself? And for the youth, I would say they really need to take the time out, really think, what is it that they really want? I mean, what do they really want? Yes, I understand they found a cause which is a big cause, right?
It's a very
and then they feel
cause,
that suddenly they're a part of something
greater
big,
themselves.
Greater than themselves. And that's the idea. The reason we feel good is when we find a cause. When we find something which is larger than ourselves.
A mission, a vocation.
Exactly. So they feel that this is their mission. But I urge them to think, is it really what they want? Or they want contentment, they want fulfillment, they want satisfaction, or they want to go on the streets and just fight. History has shown that not much can be achieved through fighting. The thing is, yes, we've raised this question. People are aware, like, this is the problem. It's time to now start finding solutions.
And identify what are the best paths.
Best ways,
best paths and most productive pathways.
And all parties concerned. It's not just one party.
Exactly.
Everyone needs to look within.
Inwards. Everyone needs to
what is for the greater good?
Like,
why are we fighting? Why is this violence being created? So you need to clean that violence within. Everybody needs to. You do, I do, because we all have these insecurities and fears and then
these bubbling neuroses is coming up to the surface right now.
It is. So the idea is to focus on yourself. It sounds selfish, but for a very, very selfless and selfish reasons, you need to fix yourself. The key to everything actually lies within. Your happiness, other people's happiness. Your contentment, other people's contentment. You want to change the world, like Mahatma Gandhi says, you want to see the change, be the change. So if we can, and I think the youth are trying to do that. They are trying to be the change by getting involved in this kind of.
They're getting there. In a sense.
But is it the right way?
Well, I think that that whole discovery, self-discovery, inner journey, inner path is what we're going to be discussing over the next few videos in our series.
I look forward to that.
And I would like to thank you and hope we can have many more exchanges like this over the next few in our next series. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Visit www.buddhiststore.net for more videos and check out our YouTube channel for various other series involved with our staff members. Thank you.